2, 3 QBs. Let's go get us a po' boy.
How you doing, brother?
Excuse, I didn't see you there. Heads up, heads up. Heads up, heads up. Artist says I can't get him anymore. Light it up, have some fun. That's what we got to do. Woo! Ah. Testing.
Boy, how can you not like that? Brett Favre, 39 years old, reported to the Minnesota Vikings August 18th. It's kind of hard to believe he's actually in purple, but there it is, John Lynch.
It's hard to look at, and you know, like he said, we asked him, does it seem weird? He said it only looked weird the first time I saw myself on film, and boy, does it look weird seeing Brett Favre in the purple and white.
Breaks the NFL all-time record for consecutive starts, previously held by Jim Marshall, another Viking. At 270, Favre will make it 271 in about 12 seconds. That's Percy Harvin, the #1 pick, 22 overall, out of Florida. Harvin at the goal line. Harvin pours it inside, gets out to about the 25-yard line. And here is Brett Favre at 271. And they'll hand it off inside to Adrian Peterson. Peterson with about 5 early. And a look at the starting lineups. A very solid offensive line up front, John Lynch, and they'll go with the rookie at the right tackle spot. That's Phil Lodeholt.
Phil Lodeholt, this guy is massive. Bryant McKinney, I thought he was big. He makes McKinney look smaller.
The backs and wide receivers, you know about the feats of Adrian Peterson. We've seen him already today. The NFC's leading rusher the last 2 years, and he also led the NFL last year in total yards from scrimmage. 2nd down and 5. First pass of the day for Favre. The swing pass outside. Nice move there by Peterson, and Peterson will have an early first down here for the Minnesota Vikings. The Lions defense, they brought in a lot of new players, and last week in the loss to Cleveland, it looked like it. Guys were pretty much on their own program.
Yeah, guys, there was some confusion to be sure. With 9 new starters, that's to be expected. They better get it ironed out here today.
Louis Stelmas, keep an eye on him. He's made some big hits. Only a rookie, the 2nd-round pick out of Western Michigan. First and 10, ball at the 34-yard line. Downhill, Peterson. Peterson for a couple. And we talk about Brett Favre and that streak of consecutive starts. Here's what was going on back in 1992. The average price of gas, well, that was big enough. The Redskins beat Buffalo in the Super Bowl. The Toronto Blue Jays became the first Canadian team to win the World Series. The Mall of America opened up there in Bloomington, Minnesota, at the former old Met site. And you go down to the bottom there, the Silence of the Lambs. John, you had a great Silence of the Lambs Anthony Hopkins impression last night.
Into the lights, please.
Here's some daylight there, the swing pass. Peterson makes Ernie Sims miss and pounds the turf because he felt he should have had more.
And Ron, what's impressive right away is Brett Favre just came to camp, but his familiarity with this West Coast offense is apparent already. He's gone through the 3rd progression in the read, to the 2nd progression in the read right there. He's being quick with his mind, quick with his feet, quick with his arm today.
3rd and 3, 4 plays, 4 touches for Adrian Peterson, but Chester Taylor checks in his place. Pressure, inside throw, cut. Bernard Berrien with the first down. And Brett Favre bringing that heater, that patented slant throw with plenty of mustard on it. That's good for 12 yards and a first.
This play right here, people question whether he still had that fire to his arm. Wonderful throw right there by Brett Favre. Great route by Bernard Berrien. They wanted to get him going today. He had 0 catches last week, and he's leaving the field here.
Favre left the field. I don't know if the Vikings were going to run a little trickeration, but they had to call a timeout. So we're back. Berrien shaken up on the play. He got the first down, but he took a hit. And the Vikings, after calling the timeout, get it sorted out. Favre back on the field. The first miscue of the day by the Vikings, and the Lions make them pay.
There was a problem in the exchange between Favre and Peterson right there. You see Favre stick the ball out, just slips right through Adrian Peterson's arms. This is the kind of play that the Lions needed. When you're used to losing, it needs to go well early, and that right there is what the Detroit Lions needed.
Ball recovered by Ernie Sims, kicked a couple of times, but great field position for young Matthew Stafford. End around, Calvin Johnson gets away from one, and a great gain on first down. Calvin Johnson into Vikings territory. Ball marked at about the 42-yard line, 11 yards on the pickup. And there you see the offensive line for the Detroit Lions. They've had some difficulty in the past. They'll make a change at the left guard. Daniel Loper is out. Manny Ramirez will get the start at left guard.
And Ron, I guess if you struggle in week one running the football, you let Calvin Johnson do it. He does everything else for you.
Johnson, their first round pick. This play is stopped. First call of the night or the day for Carl Shepherds.
False start on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
False start going against the offense. We talked about the Minnesota Vikings defense. That defense very solid the last 3 years in a row. Number one against the rush. It starts with Pat Williams and Kevin Williams down inside, but don't forget about Jared Allen, Greenway, Henderson, Lieber, a very, very good linebacking crew. Antoine Winfield went to his first Pro Bowl. He will make plays. Lions keep it on the ground after the penalty for the Lions. First throw, Stafford completes it, and that's the Brandon Pettigrew, the 20th player picked overall out of Oklahoma State this year.
Right away, we see them get Brandon Pettigrew involved in the offense. Last week, they were disappointed that they weren't able to get him involved. They started Will Heller last week. They're very high on this young man. They say his ceiling may be higher than any of their draft picks, including Matthew Stafford. They really like him, and that's a good sign getting him involved early here today.
Third down and 5. They pick up the pressure. The hot one inside, and it's complete. Calvin Johnson. And Johnson will have a Lions first down. A pickup of 6.
Calvin Johnson, we see him outside here. We've already seen him run the ball. This guy's a terrific player. He's known for going down the field, but he's a great route runner underneath. A very, very explosive player. Incredible receiver, Ron.
We talked to Antoine Winfield last night. He said Johnson could be a problem if he's in front of me because of his size and being able to locate the ball. There's a hit at the line of scrimmage there. The handoff to Smith. Winfield came up. And let me tell you, folks, don't look at the 5'9", 180 pounds and snicker, because he will come up and hit you.
In my mind, he's one of the best 3 tackling corners in the league. I think along with the likes of a Rondé Barber and a Champ Bailey, this guy announces his presence early and often in every game he plays.
4 career touchdowns as a Viking. He can make big plays in the secondary as well, catching the ball. The end around. Yamon Figures blasted. That time, Mediu Williams, the free safety, comes up and applies the wax. A loss of 2.
Figures is a late pickup. They picked him up after the cuts and late in training camp, and he's a guy who's been a punt returner before. They figure get him the ball in space. Wonderful play and diagnosis by Mediu Williams, and a great tackle.
Third down and 12. These are the situations that Matthew Stafford got in trouble
which way you going?
Last week against the Saints. He threw 37 times and 3 interceptions. Looking for the screen, throws it the other way. That's Pettigrew very close to a first down. Brought down by Lieber. Chad Greenway was the Viking that missed the early tackle, a pickup of 11, and they look to be just shy.
Right away, you're going to see him double team Jared Allen, but this is what you want to do with the young quarterback. Take the pressure off him. Throw easy passes such as screens. We talked already, they want to get Pettigrew involved. 2 passes to him already here today.
And this is a 4th and 1. The Lions will go for it. Hey, you've lost 18 in a row. Your home opener. Why not?
Why not?
Smith along with Felton in the backfield. Smith has it and then some. So the third-round pick out of Central Florida 2 years ago, or last year, makes it work. And the Lions keep the drive alive.
They talked about Pettigrew, his blocking ability. You'll see him right here. You watch him on the double team on Jared Allen, getting movement there along with Backus. They move the fullback. Felton does a great job on the block on Lieber. Great execution by the Detroit Lions here early.
Pettigrew in motion. The draw, Smith. Barely got out of the backfield. The ball is loose. No whistle. There's the whistle. I believe they're going to call it down by contact. Jared Allen came in the backside and applied the pressure along with 2 other Vikings.
So Jared Allen lining up here. He's an active player. Frustrated last week with his inability to get sacks, but he makes plays both in the pass game and the run game. He's a relentless player.
A loss of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 12. Draw again. This time Aaron Brown, that's the rookie. He almost lost the handle, but gets positive yards. Benny Sapp came down and made the tackle.
You're seeing them get a couple young guys involved early that they really placed an emphasis on getting involved. Aaron Brown was one of those guys. He had a kick return last week. He had 1 carry for 9 yards. They wanted to get him more involved in the offense here today, and right away we see them do that.
Jim Schwartz in his first year as head coach for the Lions. 16 years of NFL experience. Last 10 years with the Tennessee Titans. 3rd and 5. Stafford going in zone. Just out of reach for Johnson. Winfield on the coverage, but Johnson had gotten behind Winfield and looked to be open.
There's Calvin right here running the route, and Winfield does a great job knowing where he's going. I think my one criticism of Stafford last week, Ron, is at times when you've got a 6'5" receiver and a 5'9" corner, put it up there and let him make a play. Stop trying to throw everything on a line. Lay it up there, throw that jump ball, and let Calvin go use his height.
30 yards out for Hansen, who had knee surgery in the offseason, has said he does not feel 100%. He pushes it through in spite of the knee. Jim Schwartz, first year as an NFL head coach, the 43-year-old native of Baltimore, Maryland. He said he came in and cleaned house, and he meant it. He even changed the pictures around the facility.
Wanted to change the culture. He didn't want all the negativity from the past pervading over this team. He changed players, he changed pictures, changed the weight room.
And this is Hansen kicking to Harbin. Harbin with a 33-yard average last week. And that win against Cleveland, he's out of the gate, trips, stumbles, couldn't keep his balance, but still a nice return. He pushes it out to the 31-yard line. The Lions with their first lead of the 2009 season. And I'm sure a lot of Lions fans are like, okay, can the game just be over so we can go home and call it a win? Wildcat formation.
It's Percy Harvin there.
Harvin with the inside handoff to Peterson. And the Lions snuff it out. Great play. Julian Peterson, who did not play up to par last week, comes around the corner and limits it to a pickup of 2.
You know, and they laid down the hammer on Julian Peterson. Gunther Cunningham, Jim Schwartz didn't like the way he played in week 1. They told him play better or we'll put someone else in there. And right there you see Julian Peterson penetrate, and they finish gang tackle and get a lot of people to Adrian Peterson, which you need to do with Adrian.
Taylor along with Peterson in the backfield at the same time. They'll call it a pickup of 1 officially. Pressure set, down goes far. Jason Hunter. A marker is down. Let's check the flag. That's going to go against Minnesota.
Holding, number 71, offense. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
Loadholt, the rookie, held.
And Cliff Avrill's out with a hamstring, their best pass rusher. Jason Hunter goes in, and right away he makes his presence known. He puts the dip on a tall Phil Loadholt. Great job finishing by Jason Hunter. When someone goes down, you need your backups to play well. Jason Hunter announcing his presence right away.
Only the 3rd career sack for Jason Hunter, who spent the last 3 years in Green Bay. 3rd and long. The easy throw, check down. Nice move by Chester Taylor, but he'll be well short of the first down, and the Lions feel the roar as they hold the Minnesota Vikings and force a punt situation. A 3 and out.
And the crowd's letting this defense know, great job. You get a turnover on the first series, second series, you rally to the ball on the Wildcat. You rally on the 3rd down, you get a sack on 2nd down. They appreciate that here in Detroit.
Dennis Northcutt is back to receive the Chris Cooley kick. Northcutt with a nice day last week in the loss to New Orleans. Ripped off a 43-yarder. Special teams, one of the few bright spots for the Lions last week. Good punt, forces the fair catch at about the 21-22 yard line. Went to Georgia Tech to play baseball, ended up playing some football. And there's a nice run on 1st down. Kevin Smith busts through, a pickup of at least 7. Call it a pickup of 6 officially. 2nd down and 4. There's Smith again. Smith last year with 12 starts, the team's leading rusher, not saying a heck of a whole lot on the team that went 0 for 16, but they feel this kid has a lot of promise.
Yeah, and Ron, he's running angry today. He was very disappointed with his effort in week 1. 20 yards on 15 carries. He said it was the worst performance of his young career. He was ready to play today. I've been around this young guy. He's a prideful guy. I expected him to come out running hard today.
They'll call it 3. That'll bring up a 3rd and 1. The flip 90 play, and that's to Johnson, and Johnson lowers his head and gets the 1st down. A pickup of 5.
This is a great design by the Detroit offense. Last week they brought him twice into the backfield, used him as a decoy. You see Jared Allen right there get sucked down on 3rd and 1. You're probably going to do that. You open up the field for a guy like Calvin Johnson. You'll see already they're trying to utilize him in a number of different ways.
And another thing I can tell already, John, is that they are taking the throwing pressure off of that man, Matthew Stafford. Like I said in the beginning of the game, they threw 37 times. They just didn't feel that was the right number for him. Too many.
They had to. They didn't feel it was fair to a young quarterback on the road to throw that much and make it a commitment to the run here today.
Easy throw. That's Felton. Felton breaks a tackle and rumbles down to the Vikings' 45-yard line. Pick up there by Felton. They'll keep it on the ground. The cut. Smith. And Smith for a nice 1st down run. So the Lions not afraid to put the ball right down the gut of the team that has been so good against the run the last 3 years. That run good for 6 yards.
And Ron, you look at this is a great start for the Detroit Lions, a team in the midst of a huge losing streak, a lot of negativity around it. They're running the ball effectively. They created a turnover. They capitalized on that turnover. It's boding well for Detroit right now. And the Lions fans surely appreciate it.
And that's the end of the 1st quarter. The Lions up 3-0. Ron Pitts, John Lynch. We start the 2nd quarter here in Detroit. The Lions capitalizing off an early turnover. They go down and get 3 points. 2nd down and 4. Gun formation for Stafford. The full rollout, looking for a comeback. It's not there. There it is, late, intercepted. Chad Greenway with the Minnesota Vikings turnover. So we talked about not letting the rookie throw too much too early. He looked like he tried to make something happen. Well, he made something happen. It's bad if you're a Lions fan. So the young Matthew Stafford serves up Chad Greenway's 3rd career interception. John, maybe trying to do a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Johnson's a terrific player, but you can't force it.
And it puts this man back on the field, Brett Favre. Fake the throw, the handoff, Peterson looking to get outside. And still drags a man a couple yards. A pickup of about 5.
We look back at the last play. Chad Greenway lined up all the way over here. Matthew Stafford's going to run, roll to the right, and try to zero in on Calvin Johnson. You're going to see Greenway do a wonderful job of reading Stafford's eyes, coming all the way across the field. And Matthew Stafford will learn as a young quarterback you can't throw across your body in the NFL. Guys like Chad Greenway are too fast.
Pick up a 5-second and 5. Berrien in motion. The stretch play. Peterson around the corner. and Peterson just shy. Let's see how they mark it, of the first down. Julian Peterson with the tackle.
And right away, the Vikings, they get the turnover. They want to come out and establish that running game right away. They want to turn this into a street fight, get Adrian Peterson going, take back control of this game.
180 yards rushing last week in the win against Cleveland, after only 25 yards rushing in the first half. 3rd down and 1. Peterson won't get it. Great play in the backfield. Larry Foote along with Marquand Manuel.
Larry Foote said it last night. You want to get Adrian Peterson, you better get bodies to the ball. Marquand Manuel and Larry Foote to the ball right there. They stop Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Great stop for the Detroit Lions.
The second 3 in a row, 3 and out in a row for the Lions defense. And Larry Foote, a guy coming in free agency from the Steelers, makes a play. Cluey will try to kill it out of bounds inside the 10. Doesn't quite get enough of this one. Back in Detroit, 3-0 Lions. The Vikings on that last punt, a little bit different formation, and actually had Tavares Jackson out on the field, out on the punt and cover team as an up back. So no points scored after the turnover. Lions offense will reset it. Nowhere to go for Smith. Big Pat Williams closing down the outside. Let's go back to that last punt.
Ron, you're going to see Tavares Jackson, the backup quarterback, different formation. You see everyone, the Vikings not running a fake, but maybe giving the Lions something to think about here later in the game.
You saw the way they circled around both outside gunners. Definitely giving Stan Kwan, the Lions special teams coach, something to think about the next time out. No yards on the play, 2nd and 11. Give inside again. Pat Williams is there again.
And when you talk about being the #1 rush defense in the NFL for the last 3 years, a lot of the credit goes to that big boy right there. And you know, the other Kevin Williams. And these guys are big and really talented in the middle. That's what makes it so tough to run against these Minnesota Vikings.
A pickup of 2 as Pat Williams checks out. Bringing 3rd and 9. Without a doubt, the Vikings pressure will be coming. Stafford in trouble. He will try to throw it. Goes for the first down. Let's see how they mark it. He's going to be very close.
Doesn't look like they gave him.
Doesn't look like they gave him a very generous spot.
And Ron, you called it. They did bring the pressure. Leslie Frazier dialed up the safety blitz with Madu Williams. Stafford shows some great speed. And where the officials marking it right now, it looks short.
Boy, he had about the entire Viking defense chasing him. They don't give him the spot. But you can tell after the last interception, Stafford said, I think I'll just do this on my own, and they'll measure it anyway.
The spot, remember, should be dictated as to where the ball was when his knee hit the ground and when he went out of bounds. Could be something that Jim Schwartz could challenge. Take a look at the end zone. The pressure comes from Greenway and Madu Williams from the right side, and Stafford does his best to escape it. You watch right there. It's where that ball is when that either that knee touches or he goes out of bounds.
So Jim Schwartz.
Let that ball go back in there.
The Lions are challenging the spot on the field that it should be a first down.
So referee Carl Cheffers is still checking out whether or not we have a first down or a 4th down.
And Ron, a lot of it's going to stem from the fact of Carl Cheffers' interpretation of whether it's that right knee or the left knee of Matthew Stafford that's down. You see right here the right knee, and it's kind of hidden by that foot right there. If it's the left knee, I think he's got it. If they rule the right knee down, I think he's short. There we go. It looks like he's down right there. And in that case, it would be the right knee, and I think he probably is short.
Here's Carl Cheffers.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Detroit is charged with their first team timeout.
So the Lions lose a timeout. They lose the challenge. But I like the challenge by Schwartz, because in a game like this with Brett Favre on the other sideline, you want to keep any momentum that you have.
Absolutely. Well worth the challenge. You lose a timeout, but that was very close. And you see the
Look at
Lions
this.
in
A little fake situation by the Lions.
It's the punter, Nick Harris.
I think he was just trying to get him to jump offside. They've got plenty of time on the play clock. It's down to 5. And they get it off. So both sides now showing a little trickery. Doesn't result in much, except a fair catch down the field. And talking to Brad Childress last night, he said, yes, I'm a West Coast offense head coach, and that's my system, and that's what we run. But everyone knows that I love that run game, and we love to be run heavy.
Yeah, you know, and I love the way he phrased it. He says you have to, as a football team, be able to exert your will on someone. They sure did it to Cleveland last week. Right now, Detroit's holding up. They're doing a very nice job against Adrian Peterson in this run game. That won't stop Childress and these guys from trying to get this running game going, though.
And that was part of the appeal for bringing in Brett Favre. I mean, beside the fact that he's just Brett Favre, he has some familiarity with the offense. It's a West Coast style, a little bit different than what he ran in Green Bay, but it comes from the same tree, which goes all the way back down to Bill Walsh back in the day.
You know, Childress tells a great story. The famous shot of Brad going to the airport, picking him up off the private jet, bringing him, he got a little meal. Then he said, all right, go on the field. Here we go, hound 2, XY hook. And Brett says, I like Fox 2, XY hook. And he says, well, we got to block that outside linebacker.
Not bad for a guy that just got off the plane. To take pressure on Favre. Favre goes down for the second time today. Larry Foote on the blitz. Second and 15. They'll go to Harbin. Harbin, not a lot. Third and 14. Taylor in the backfield with Favre. Inside, incomplete. Intended for Schenko, the tight end. That'll bring up 4th down.
The fans are excited here, and they should be. That's the third and out of the game, 3 and out of the game for the Detroit Lions defense. Doing a great job of putting pressure on Brett Favre, making him make errant throws, and rallying to Adrian Peterson.
So no trick formation this time on the punt. Clooney will take the snap and kick it away. Not a lot of hang time on this one. Northcutt will have a chance. Needs a couple blocks, though. Great coverage by the Vikings. Northcutt barely made it back up to the 25-yard line. And that's Lions safety Marquand Manuel, who was shaken up on that last return. He got the back of his knee rolled up on. Here's another look at it.
See Marquand Manuel there, and it's Kenny Onatalu who comes and rolls up on his ankle and knee. And that's their starting safety, who's made a bunch of tackles here today.
So 1st and 10 for the Lions. Ball at the 25-yard line. The toss to Smith. Smith turning the corner, and look at Kevin Smith. Smith out past the 40-yard line. Actually, they'll mark it just shy of the 40-yard line. Nice block by Heller, 13 yards on the pickup.
Great block by Will Heller, and great block by the lead fullback, Jerome Felton there. We're going to see him follow, Kevin Smith follow Felton. They talked about establishing the run. They felt they needed to protect their quarterback and just to be successful. It's the foundation that Scott Linehan and Jim Schwartz came in here and talked about establishing. They're doing it here today.
Vikings getting caught in the run blitz. Same play looks like going toward the other side of the field. Kevin Smith again. That one for 12 yards. Calvin Johnson with a nice block.
And Ron, the big picture for this, you start establishing that run. Minnesota likes to stay in that 7-man front. Next thing you know, they're going to have to bring that 8th safety, the safety down into the box for the 8th man. Calvin Johnson now is one-on-one. You like that matchup every time.
And John Lynch, you know about coming down in that box and playing that 8th man. Those corners, as you come down, you say, good luck, fellas, you're on an island. They don't go to play action yet. Instead, they go to the run. That's Maurice Morris. Remember Mo Morris from Seattle? Brought in this year as a free agent. He gets a little.
You know, and a lot of these runs are coming from that left side, and that's Manny Ramirez in there, the big left guard from Texas Tech. You know, Daniel Loper is the starter last week in New Orleans. He was hurt with a knee, but they were kind of excited to see Manny Ramirez in here. He's a big, powerful guy they felt could get some push on the big Williams brothers inside.
Ray Edwards, the defensive end for the Vikings, he is injured, shaken up. Rex Ryan, we're not going to kiss the rings of the champion New England Patriots. And nobody's kissing any rings here. Mo Morris and the Lions content with shoving the ball right down the throat of the Minnesota Vikings.
They aren't kissing rings. They're running straight downhill, and they're taking it to this #1 rush defense in the NFL the last 3 years. I applaud the Lions for coming out and establishing this. Offensive linemen love it. The crowd here obviously loves it. It's a great start to the game for Detroit.
Ray Edwards shaken up. Jamie Mitchell came in his place. 6 different Lions have rushed the ball. The rollout, the completion, that's to the tight end, Fitzsimmons. He's chopped down early.
And Ron, we talked about it in the open. When you have that ball control, you know, you want it as an offense. One of the biggest reasons you want it, Adrian Peterson sitting on that bench over there right now. Brett Favre sitting, Bernard Berry, and they're on that bench. That's a big part of this philosophy as well. Now you've got to turn it into points.
Mediu Williams coming up for the tackle, a pick of 2. Vikings defense on the field an awful long time. 2nd and 8, looking cutback. Smith can't quite get it. Nice hit there from the secondary, Terrell Johnson. And a loose ball and a late flag and some after the play antics. Goster Sherilis is he's known for that going up against the Minnesota Vikings, huh?
Well, there's a little bad blood there between he and Jared Allen. And I think Goster just won an Academy Award. Took a little dive there on a little push, but hey, whatever it takes.
Boy, he's getting under
after
Jared
the play,
Allen's skin.
unnecessary roughness. Number 93 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, now, that's interesting because Kevin Williams comes over to Jared Allen's defense there as Goster's trying to pick him up, and then he gets the flag.
Well, and you remember Jared Allen was not fond at all of what Goster Sherilis did to him last year. He felt like he took a cheap shot at his knee. I'm sure all the defensive linemen for the Vikings remember that. Jared said we got to keep our heads about us. Instead, it's Kevin Williams who draws the penalty.
So 1st and 10 after the penalty. Lions threatening to score. Handoff inside. That could be a face mask. It will be. Kevin Smith inside for a couple. The Vikings falling apart here on defense. Sheffer's trying to get it all cleaned up and worked out.
Personal foul. Grabbing the helmet opening. Number 92 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
That's Jamie Mitchell. And we talked about the bad blood between Jared Allen and Goster Sherilis. So 1st down, they go to the run game. And Allen was very candid with us last night talking about that whole situation. But teams not afraid to run it. Jared Allen, the great pass rusher.
Jared Allen makes a heck of a play right there. The Lions, you talk to them, they're as excited about the blocking of Brandon Pettigrew as anything. Jared Allen just ragdolls him right there, gets in on the tackle. Nice play by Jared Allen. Known more for his pass rushing, but a complete player in this league.
Ray Edwards checks back in on the D-line for the Vikings. 2nd and goal. Looking for Johnson. He's got him inside. Touchdown, Vikings. make that touchdown Lions. Calvin Johnson with 12 touchdowns last year puts one on the board here against the Vikings. So Hansen puts one through, and the Lions trying to get off of that nasty skid of 0-18.
Yeah, and if you're a Lions fan, this is exactly how you want to see your team start off. You're going to see Calvin Johnson out here. I circled him because you keep running the football, you soften up that defense. You see Cedric Griffin off. Brandon Pettigrew's going to clear out the safety. Calvin Johnson does the rest. You get the ball to him underneath. He carries it into the end zone. The execution by the Lions early on has been textbook. And Ron, talking to Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, earlier this week, he said everybody thinks you got to get the ball to Calvin down the field. You got to throw jump balls. Well, let me tell you something. This guy is a complete receiver. You see Matthew Stafford excited right there, and he should be.
So Matthew Stafford with his second touchdown throw. That will be his first career touchdown pass. He ran for a touchdown last week against the Cleveland Browns. Look at the New Orleans Saints. And he gets another one here. Harvin breaks through the first line and squeezes out to the 24-yard line. Marquand Manuel checks back into the game. Peterson with a breakout. Came back in the second half and really lit it up. The fake to Taylor, the throw to Kleinsasser, not much for Kleinsasser. Manuel coming up to make the tackle. A pickup of 1.
As we said, we felt talking to Gunther like there was going to be some pressure. Some blitzes coming at Brett, and sure enough, he's delivered.
Peterson looking for the outside, turns the corner, and pushed out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. A pickup of 3. Pushed out of bounds by Delmas. So Brad Childress now starting to get his team going, down 10-zip here in the second quarter. Third down and 5. Pressure. Favre with the check down. That's Harvin. Harvin with a missed tackle and a Vikings first down. He made Jordan Dizon miss and picked up 12. There's a look at Gunther Cunningham, the Lions defensive coordinator.
And Gunther Cunningham, Ron, you know this guy's been around forever. 40 years of coaching experience. He's a classic one. You sit down with him. This guy loves football. He respects players, respects the heck out of a guy like Brett Favre, but he wants to bring it on him.
First year as the Lions defensive coordinator. 28 years of NFL experience. A 1st and 10. Favre looking to score. The screen. Peterson almost taken down by the would-be shoulder tackle. It squeezes it up to about the 36-yard line.
And that's something you usually don't see. The screens typically go to Chester Taylor. They throw it to Adrian Peterson right there. And Julian Peterson apparently got the message. He's all over the field today. They weren't happy with the way he played week 1, and someone's down for the Detroit Lions here.
And looks like Manuel again. Marquand Manuel has already been helped off the field once. Now he's clutching that right knee.
He was involved in that special teams play where he got rolled up on and came back on the field. He's had a good game early on for the Detroit Lions, it would be either Calvin Pearson or Coach Simpson that would come in for Marquand.
And the Lions defense with a much better showing thus far today. Last week against New Orleans, gave up 6 touchdown passes and 358 yards passing to Breeze. And that's good news as for the second time today, Manuel gets up. Boy, a rough half for Marquand Manuel. Calvin Pearson, number 24, will come in and take his place.
You heard the trainer say it's his other knee. We caught that sound there. Not good luck for Marquand Manuel here today. And the young man's having a fine game. Calvin Pearson, though, is a guy who played a lot of football last year. Actually was their defensive MVP.
All right, Kurt. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, 2nd down and 7. Here with just under 3 minutes to play in the first half. Yes, that score is right. The Detroit Lions up 10-0 over the Vikings. Early turnovers have hurt the Vikings. Run blitz, 2nd and 7, throw on the slant, and that's complete to Sidney Rice. Favre knew exactly where to go with the ball.
And Ron, you called it. They brought the run blitz. Well, if you see a run blitz, you don't run right into the run blitz. Instead, your linemen aren't downfield enough. You throw the hot route to Sidney Rice. That's what Brett Favre brings to this team, an awareness and experience. He's seen it all. He's done it all, and delivers a great ball right there to Sidney Rice.
1st and 10. Peterson in the backfield. Play action. Check down to Peterson. Whoa, what a move. Peterson will be very close to the 1st down. And he shook down Ernie Sims. The yardage total for Adrian Peterson starting to increase.
And Ron, you think they're bottling them up, but you're going to see them run the football, then you're going to see him throw the football. And look at that shake right there. That reminds you of another guy coming from Detroit, Barry Sanders. And I still have those nightmares of getting shook down by him. Adrian Peterson, that's what he presents. The challenge with the power, but also that elusiveness.
1st and 10. Taylor in the backfield. Quick throw. Rice will be about 3 yards shy of the touchdown.
In talking to Brad Childress, one of the guys that Brett Favre has quickly gained a chemistry with was Sidney Rice. This is a guy they've been somewhat disappointed with. His production went down last year. Brett Favre and he have hit it off right away, and they're in tune on this drive. 4 first downs on this drive, 2 previously, actually now 5 first downs on this drive. They're getting in a little rhythm offensively.
1st and goal. Tahi, the fullback, he's shy. Looks as though he got it down to about the inch line.
2nd charge timeout, Detroit, a 30-second timeout.
See big Grady Jackson here going. Big boy brought in here to stop the run, and that's what he's doing right there. He's stuffing that run. That's what Grady Jackson does, 345 pounds, and I think that's being generous.
So the Lions with their 2nd timeout. As you look at Grady Jackson there, brought in from the Atlanta Falcons, 12-year man out of Knoxville.
Ron, one of the things that talking to Jim Schwartz, he's always talking about, it's not about the yardage we give up, it's about the points. If they could keep them to 3 points here or create a turnover, it'd be huge for Detroit.
Taylor in the backfield. Play action. Favre, the rollout. Touchdown inside Vikings. Vasante Shenko. That's his 1st touchdown of the season.
And Ron, does that look familiar? I mean, I'm sitting here right now having flashbacks to Favre to Brett Chimura there in the back of the end zone. It's the same thing. You roll to the right, you back shoulder the tight end. You're going to see Shenko in the replay line up, come free, but that is so familiar. And Brett Favre He's made a lot of tight ends careers. He loves throwing to his tight ends. They're a security blanket.
Longwell puts the extra point through. A late marker goes down. We'll check on that. But the all-time NFL leader in touchdown passes right there, Brett Favre, adding one more.
Holding, number 40, offense, 10-yard penalty, retry.
So they'll retry the kick. And the most career touchdown passes of all time starts with a former Minnesota Viking great, Fran Tarkington, Dan Marino, and of course the man he broke, Dan Marino, going to Brett Favre. Nice drive, 10 plays, 76 yards. And they put points on the board. How about that passer rating? Favre was 7 for 7 on that drive.
And he brings so much to a team, Ronnie. It's an energy. Everybody we talk to, from Antoine Winfield to Jared Allen to Brad Childress, he's lightened up this team. They're having fun playing football. And, the guy's, in addition to having fun, he's the all-time wins leader as well.
This is Aaron Brown. Brown hit hard. Barely out past the 15-yard line. Winfield hustling down for the tackle. And you can just tell how light he keeps this team. I mean, to a man, every guy that came in the meeting room
doing the YMCA dance. You just love that about the guy, and he's brought that kind of love of the game back to these Minnesota Vikings.
And an early knockdown. Jared Allen read that one. He almost took the handoff.
Second charge.
They tried to run the delayed handoff. Almost an old Statue of Liberty play, and Allen is right there, a loss of 4.
Jared Allen lined up right here on the right side, and he goes and meets Aaron Brown in the backfield. Ron, when we talk to Jared, this is a guy who's somewhat frustrated. I think he's gone 3 games now without a sack, but he continues to make plays in the run game. He's a relentless guy. He's an all-day sucker. He's going to bring it at each and every play.
Time out there by Minnesota. The Vikings, of course, think now, hold them another down here. They got a chance. Another 2 downs. They got a chance to get off the field and maybe add points before going in at half. They'll have 1 timeout left. 1 timeout left for both teams. 2nd and 14. Fake the end around. That's Brown. Brown with plenty of room, and that's a first down. A marker went down back in the backfield.
Holding, number 76, offense, half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
That's a killer. Jeff Backus, the left tackle, the former #1 pick, gets popped for the holding.
And it didn't appear after that play, Ronnie, that they were in any hurry to get up to the football. It seems like Jim Schwartz is happy with just getting this 10-7 lead to halftime. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive. You got this stadium in it. You got your team in it. Go after it a little bit. We saw Aaron Brown there. He's a guy they mentioned. They want to get the ball more in his hands. He had an explosive run there, nullified by the penalty.
Backus held Greenway. They'll keep it on the ground. Going back to Brown again. Still not much. 33 seconds and counting.
I think if you're Jim Schwartz, his thinking is, we got a 10-7 lead. Things are going well. We got a young quarterback. He already threw 1 pick. Let's not put him in a bad situation again as we did last week, and let's just get to the halftime with this lead.
And that's exactly what both teams are going to do. They're going to go in at half, and a great showing by the Lions in the first half. They get out to a 10-0 lead. Give it back here late. A great drive, 10-play drive by Brett Favre, puts points on the board like he's done so many times. And that's what will be 10-7. Longwell will get us going here in the 2nd half. This will be Brown. Brown has had some nice returns. And Brown out to the 30. Check that. Make that the 28-yard line. Eric Frampton on the tackle. So Stafford with the 1 miscue. He's got one touchdown throw. That's the quick one inside to Calvin Johnson. And he had that miscue coming down the field on the rollout. Was looking for somebody, tried to force one. Chad Greenway picked him off.
I think the big picture, they've run the ball effectively enough. They've loosened up that Minnesota's defense. We'll see if he can take advantage of Calvin Johnson in this half.
They've run a lot. There comes Jared Allen. Ball is loose. And it's recovered by Detroit. We just talked about Allen going so long without the sack. Brandon Pettigrew comes around the corner. Brandon Pettigrew picks up the ball coming around the corner
and this is
to save the possession.
Just a mistake by Backus right here. Jared Allen comes to the quarterback unblocked, and when you got the guy who's led the league in sacks since 2004, you don't ever not block him. You usually commit more than one guy. But a big miscue for the Lions on that play.
Second most sacks in the NFL since 2000. Next to DeMarcus Ware. Second and long. The draw.
It's play right there. It changes the field position. It changes the tone of this game. All of a sudden, this young quarterback that they've managed to keep out of bad situations. He's in a 3rd and 12, and we'll see what Leslie Frazier and the Minnesota Vikings do right here. Do they bring the pressure? Do they lay back?
Calvin Johnson is up at the top of your screen. Pressure, sack. Ray Edwards with his first sack of the season and the dance to go along with it.
Well, Leslie Frazier and the Vikings right there didn't bring the pressure in the form of a blitz, but they brought the pressure in the terms of the way that they like to do it with their front four. Ray Edwards, who was nicked early in the game, comes in, puts a nice rush on Stafford. Stafford's got to get rid of the ball. Sometimes the best play is throwing the ball away. At least he holds on to the ball, and the Lions line up to punt.
A loss of 9. Nick Harris will punt it away, punting to Darius Reynaud. He had 2 returns for 54 yards last week in that win over Cleveland. Reynaud at the 40. Breaks one tackle. He's still going. Almost broken. Calvin Pearson saves a long run. So Favre and the Vikings will take over. Ball at the Lions' 47-yard line. They'll come with a 2 tight end offense. Peterson looking to get outside. Takes on one man, lowers his shoulder, and squeezes it up to about the 43. Julian Peterson was the first guy he shunned.
See them get in their 2 tight end set. Adrian Peterson deep at the I-back and running behind their big boys, Steve Hutchinson and Bryant McKinney. Right away, the Vikings coming out, establishing they want to get Adrian Peterson going.
Peterson there showing you the strength. Just taking Julian Peterson at 250 pounds and tossing him to the side. 2nd and 7. Incomplete. Jason Hunter. We've called his name a couple times today.
Yeah, Jason Hunter doing a fine job. They were a little concerned. Cliff Averill, their best pass rusher, was out today, and it was Jason Hunter who had to pick up that slack. And look at him here. He's unblocked, but what does he do? He gets his hands up. If you're going to get there, that quarterback can't get him. Get your hands up. Nice job by Jason Hunter.
That brings up a 3rd and 7. Taylor in the backfield with Favre. Favre steps up, throws, it's caught. And that should be a Vikings first down. Percy Harvin, he'll have the first. So 1st and 10, Peterson checks back in the game. Berrien with the quick throw inside. The quick screen, Berrien with a nice run. Will be about 3 yards shy of the first down.
He didn't pull it, he put his hand on it, he didn't pull it down.
Ron, I like that play call, but Bernard Berrien's a guy who's an explosive player. He's been hurt with the hamstring. He and Brett haven't worked that much together, so throw him a simple route and let him get going. He's threw to him early in the game. Now you design a play to get Berrien the ball. You want to get him in the rhythm of your offense as well.
Thrown out of bounds there by Philip Buchanan. Pickup of 7. Movement. Play is stopped.
False start, number 40, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Kleinsasser, the tight end.
Big Jim Kleinsasser, their run blocking tight end, really a glorified tackle that they'll throw the ball to occasionally. But right there, you know, that's one of the things when you miss training camp, the rhythm of a snap count from a quarterback. Brett Favre's one of the great hard counters in the history. That time he got his own guy.
2nd and 8. Blitz coming. Throwing up. It's covered. Not even close. Nice job there by Anthony Henry, brought in a trade from the Dallas Cowboys this year. Traded for John Kitna.
You see the ISO of Anthony Henry right here. Gunther Cunningham dialed up the pressure, and if you're going to dial up the pressure, your cornerbacks have to hold up outside. There's one-on-one matchups. Anthony Henry does the job right there.
That brings up 3rd and 8. They bring it again. Going deep. Flag is thrown, incomplete. Marquand Manuel, who's gone in and out of the game a couple times, is on the coverage.
Looks like it's going to be illegal contact at back, Judge.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 40, 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Favre was shooting for Schenko and looked like the coverage was a little too close by Manuel.
Gunther Cunningham dials up the pressure, and not much contact, but that is the rule. After 5 yards, you touch the receiver and impede his progress. They're going to call it. That's tough on a defensive back, but that's the rules.
As I just said, Manuel shaken up a couple times. The trainers have been very active attending to Marquand Manuel. He's injured both knees, but yet he keeps on coming back. Play clock running low. Draw. Peterson dancing, Favre throwing a block, and he does throw the block, and it springs Peterson.
Oh, it was the key block. It was the block that sprung Adrian Peterson, and that's the kind of thing that wins your teammates over. See Sammy Hill do a great job up there, stuffing it in the middle, and here at the corner of your eye, you see Brett Favre right there on the block on Phillip Buchanan. It springs Adrian Peterson, and watch Adrian Peterson finish this run.
And Delmas brought it. Peterson takes the helmet off. He's lucky he didn't get a penalty. But Favre giving him a little dap. Taylor with the spin move in the backfield, loses the ball. I believe Minnesota got it back. Let's wait and see. That thing could be changing hands under there. Yep, the official that has it marked says they got it back.
Chester Taylor on the inside run, and it's Marquand Manuel.
Oh, and that ball is out too.
Gets his hand on the ball, and the ball is out. And Chester Taylor very fortunate to come up with it there.
Well, how about that? Ball went right back to him. Empty backfield on this 2nd and 10. Throw inside. That's Berrien. Foot on the coverage and the tackle. That would have been a huge play now for the Lions.
It would have been, and prior to that, they were off the field on 3rd down. You get the illegal contact. Then you create a fumble. You cause a fumble. It bounces right back to Minnesota. Big situation for both teams here. Detroit needs to stand up and at least hold them to a field goal. Minnesota, on the other hand, wants to put it in the end zone.
3rd down and 5. Blitz, slant, nearly intercepted, then nearly caught. Delmas almost had the pick, and then Schenko almost caught the deflection for a touchdown.
Gunther Cunningham again dials up the pressure. He's giving him an audible, a hand signal to Schenko outside, and it's Delmas makes, the rookie wishes he had that one back.
And then Shanko wishes he had it back too because he felt he could have caught it. So they'll come with the field goal attempt. 26 yards out for Longwell. Longwell has been 2 for 2 perfect on the season thus far. That's 3 for 3. So we are tied up here in Detroit. And boy, I got to tell you, I think for Detroit, that's a win to come away with only 3 points on the board there instead of 7.
Absolutely. Jim Schwartz, Gunther Cunningham, they talk about it all the time. Schwartz says he learned it playing against Peyton Manning in Indy twice a year. And it's not about the yardage, it's about the points.
This is Brown. Brown with a huge lane, and that lane closed up very quickly. Series right here on Fox. First and 10 pitch. Smith sidesteps and jumps out past the 30-yard line. A pickup of 4.
And Ron,
Pat Williams on the tackle, sorry.
The last 2 drives for Detroit going backwards, minus 17 yards, and I think that first play of this series is exactly what they need to do. They need to get back to running the football. They did it well in the first half. You got to keep that going, and then you get your quarterback comfortable. The shots will be open outside to Calvin Johnson then.
It looked like they just didn't come out in the second half hungry. A loose ball recovered by the Vikings. Is he down though? No. Vikings ball. Ben Lieber forced the fumble. And John, that's what I'm talking about. It just looked like the Lions have been flat this entire second half.
You're right, Ronnie, and there's Ben Lieber right there. Sees the run from Kevin Smith. Does a great job of trailing it from behind, getting his hand around the ball, and I think it's Ray Edwards at the end who actually gets his hand. Ray Edwards, who was nicked up earlier in the game, making a big play. Ben Lieber hanging on. Ray Edwards gets his hand on the ball. Huge turnover for Minnesota.
Greenway all over that one. Lions bring down 8 men in the box looking for the run game. There's the run game, but they still can't stop it. Peterson could go house. He does. Touchdown, Vikings. Whether you have 6 in the box or 8, it's hard to stop.
Yes, it is. And if you're going to stop it, you better go with that outside leg. The guy is too fast. And whenever you're playing a great back, your coaches will say, oh, trust your defense, trust your help. Your help's all inside right there, Anthony Henry. You can't go with that inside leg. This guy is too good and will make you pay. And that's what Adrian Peterson does to people.
27-yard touchdown for Peterson as the Vikings take the lead. So points off of the turnovers. And Adrian Peterson, now you see his numbers creeping up, 12 rushes. But look at that yard per carry average. That's what's most impressive about him, I think.
And he's already got his 4th touchdown of the year. This guy is a big-time football player. Said he wants to be the greatest football player of all time. He keeps playing like this. He is well on his way.
That coming off of the Kevin Smith fumble. This will be Aaron Brown. Brown almost getting out for the 2nd time in a row. Heath Farwell again. 17-10, Vikings in the lead. 7:39 to play and 17 unanswered points by the Minnesota Vikings. And Adrian Peterson, doesn't matter how you start. All it matters is how you finish, and he's finishing good. 1st and 10 run. Smith, who fumbled the last time out, takes a big hit, but gets it out to about the 25-yard line. Picked up 4.
And I think if you're the Lions and Jim Schwartz, you got to keep this team up. You got to keep this team into it. As we mentioned earlier, when you lose this much, even though these guys haven't been in there, I've been there before in Tampa, that negativity, it's pervasive. It goes throughout a whole team. Jim Schwartz's job right now is to tell his team, we're all right. Let's stay in this game.
2nd down and 6. They go back to the flip play. Edwards chasing. Smith will have the 1st down. Great effort there by Ray Edwards, but he couldn't get to Smith before he got the 1st down on a 9-yard pickup.
And, you know, here's that last play, and you're going to see Anthony Henry. All his help is in here. you got to go at that outside leg and make him cut back in. Otherwise, one-on-one, Adrian Peterson, you try to go head up on him, he's too good. You got to play your principles, you got to play your leverage with a great back like Adrian Peterson.
They go back to the run, trying to get a little counter cutback going. E.J. Henderson, no gain on the play. And there's a guy that the Vikings are happy to have back into the mix.
They sure are. He brings a physical presence to this defense. He was out last year with the knee, and they feel like he really brings a presence in terms of he's the captain, he's the leader, but also a thump in that middle.
There's a look at the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for the Vikings, former player Leslie Frazier. 2nd and 10. Pressure on Stafford. He gets away from it and then makes a desperation throw. Was he out of the pocket? That's the question. It looked like he was. Brad Childress is screaming. No, he wasn't.
There's no foul for
Pressure by
intentional grounding.
Edwards.
The quarterback is out of the pocket, threw it beyond the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
Remember, the pocket is defined by that tackle box. Matthew Stafford steps up in the pocket. And I think if there's a benefit of the doubt, they're going to give it to the quarterback there. They want to protect their quarterbacks. He gets the ball back to the line of scrimmage. I think good no call by the officials.
3rd down and 10. They pick it up, the blitz, the throw, and it's complete to Johnson, but well short of the 1st down. That'll bring on the punt team for the Lions.
Ron, we saw a picture of Leslie Frazier earlier. You know, he's got an interesting background in terms of he played for the Bears and Buddy Ryan. He coached under Tony Dungy at Indianapolis, and then there was a wonderful pregame show segment with Jim Johnson, the late Jim Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles. When you talk about the pressure in Jim Johnson's or in Leslie Frazier's defense, it comes from his background with Jim Johnson. And this league is going to sorely miss a guy like Jim Johnson, but his influence is all over this league, and we just saw it there on 3rd down for the Minnesota Vikings.
Darius Reynaud is deep to receive the Harris punt. He'll have a lot of room, catches the ball to 20. Nice move, spins around, heads back upfield close to the 30-yard line.
It's all right. He does well at everything he does. I think he'll do a great job.
So 1st and 10 for Brett Favre. Favre now with a 7-point lead. Take a couple tums. The check down. The Lions are all over it. That's Taylor, and Larry Foote sniffs it out and makes the play.
A nice play by Larry Foote. As you see, the last 3 possessions for the Minnesota Vikings resulting in touchdown, field goal, touchdown, 17 unanswered points. But a great play by Larry Foote right there, Ron. And you know, they talked about him not only being important as a player on the field, but for the psyche of this town. He chose to come. He's from here. He chose to come here as a free agent. That meant a lot to these folks in Detroit.
A loss of 3. 3rd and 13. No place for Favre to go, and he'll go down. 3rd sack of the day on Brett Favre. Andre Fluellen.
I think, Ron, anytime you see a quarterback holding that ball that long, it goes to coverage. They're playing a little quarters right here. Philip Buchanan, nice job on coverage. Linebackers, nice job getting depth. Louis Delmas doing a nice job keeping the ball in front of him. The defensive line continues to pursue, and that would be a coverage sack right there. And Brett Favre trying to just be smart with the football. Tucks it away and says, we'll live to see another down.
Cooley punts it away. Northcutt, immediate fair catch. First and 10. Give to Smith. Smith breaking through. And you know, Smith has shown this in the past. Some great runs at times, kind of runs in spurts, and then he'll have those moments. A couple series ago, drops the ball, leads the points for the Vikings.
Yeah, you know, what I like to see from Scott Linehan and the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions is just because he fumbled, don't go away from him. You've been running the ball successfully, particularly on that left side, running behind Manny Ramirez and Backus. Continue to do that. And I promise you, at a certain point, you'll get a shot to Calvin Johnson.
Pickup of 7. The toss. Smith again, and he'll have the first down. And you look at their offense, John, it looks simple because it is simple. They've kept it simple, mainly for one guy, and that's the quarterback, Stafford. I formation, a lot of that. They'll run, and then try to get a play action uncorked to Calvin Johnson.
Well, that's the way they draw it up. That's the way they'd like it to be. Week 1, it was Greg Williams bringing everything but the kitchen sink on the young rookie and him throwing 37 times, which really wasn't fair to the young man.
Look at Johnson today. Backside bootleg, looking for the crosser. Checks it down. That's Heller, the tight end, and Heller with a nice pickup. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first. Pushed out by Edwards.
Ron, you just hit on it. You run the football. You run the football. All of a sudden, the play action comes alive. Your tight ends start becoming open. You play off the run fake. You fake it to the left where they've been running all day, and you run the boot to the right. An easy, simple throw for Matt Stafford. Good execution by the Detroit Lions.
Pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. Lions push the ball across midfield. Smith shuts it down early. Pressure coming down the pipe there. You saw Madieu Williams coming down from that safety spot, and it looked like Smith just went in reverse. And the Vikings have not given up a 100-yard rusher in quite some time. The last 100-yard rusher was Ryan Grant back in 07. They've got 24 straight games. 3rd and 1. Stafford doesn't make the same mistake and throws it away. You can see him thinking about it. He wanted to force it, but he said no.
You feel that conscience on his shoulder there. You know, earlier on, and I'm sure in college he would have tried to thread this ball in there. He learned his lesson with Chad Greenway earlier in the game. No one was free, and he does the right thing. The fans didn't like it, but you got to throw the football away and play the field position game.
But John, do you like the call on 3rd and 1?
Well, that's a call you've seen from the West Coast system for years on 3rd and 1, but that was covered earlier in the week, earlier in the game. It doesn't look like that's there today. Go to something else.
So they'll punt it away. Harris with the high kick. That one heading the other way a little bit. Two tight ends. Favre will throw. The safe out route to Sidney Rice. The Vikings come out, make some halftime adjustments, go down the field, and take the lead. 7-point game started off a 10-0 game in favor of the Detroit Lions. Since then, 17 unanswered points by the Minnesota Vikings. Brett Favre with the ball going down the field to Bernard Berrien. He's upended by King. And John, we talk about, from a big picture standpoint, the Lions came back out in that second half after a nice first half, and they just didn't look like the same team.
Yeah, they've lost the juice, and this stadium's lost the juice. They need to make a play right here defensively to get themselves back in this game. They're doing a nice job of running the football. At some point, the shots to Calvin Johnson, the explosion plays have to come. Meanwhile, it looks as if Adrian Peterson's starting to take control for the Minnesota Vikings.
10 yards on the reception to Berrien. Favre letting it go, wide open. That's Kleinsasser, the tight end. Kleinsasser's out to about the 39-yard line.
When you look at the stats through 3 quarters, you got to feel pretty good about yourself if you're the Detroit Lions and you say we'd have 126 rushing yards. The pass yards, at some point, those got to start. The explosion plays have to start coming. For Minnesota, you want to keep controlling the clock, pounding it to Adrian. Brett's being extremely efficient with his throws. Just don't make the big mistake. Put the onus on the Lions to make a play.
Was not afraid to put the onus on that man, Brett Favre, to run this offense. Harvin with the first down. The Lion loses his lid. Harvin is still going. Percy Harvin fights out to the 50-yard line.
Looks like the young rookie Louis Delmas is a little woozy down there. You been there before, Ron?
Yeah, a couple times. Buchanan also shaken up on the play. 11-yard pickup there. We look quickly at the offensive leaders of the Vikings. They tend to Buchanan. He's able to get up, going to the wrong sideline. So one play and the Lions lose 2 defensive backs. Calvin Pearson and Eric King come in to replace Buchanan and Delmas. End around Harvin. He's had this all day. You know what's amazing is Harvin, you think a guy that's not that big, 5'11", 184, but he runs like he's well over 200 pounds.
Yeah, he's strong. I mean, this is a little guy on paper, but this is a guy, as you see, little friendly fire, little lion-on-lion crime right there. Ernie Sims hitting Philip Buchanan, who came in with a bad neck. That doesn't do you any favors with the neck already hurting. But going back to Percy Harvin, this is a guy who might be short in stature at 5'11", 184 pounds. But, Ronnie, you're right. He's a powerful, powerful guy. Just ran through Ernie Sims, a good tackler right there.
We saw Buchanan limping. I'm not sure if it's the neck as much as it is a leg problem. Peterson, the bounce out, his pocket bounce, and then his head on. Well, I tell you what, he is not afraid to drop his head and truck somebody. You never like to see guys drop their head all the time, but he can get down so low, a pickup of 8.
And you can't help but make comparisons with this guy. And the comparison right here, remember a guy named Walter Payton, never running out of bounds, finishing runs. Walter Payton would be proud right now of Adrian Peterson. He's running angry, and he's going to finish every run.
Delmas checks back in at the free safety spot. 2nd down and 2. Fake the end around, give to Peterson again. Nice wrap up there in the backfield. Dwayne White.
I think, Ronnie, as we said, Detroit at some point needs to make a big play to stop the momentum has clearly shifted to Minnesota. This could be it right here on a big 3rd down in this game. Minnesota's kind of take control of the game with 17 unanswered points. They've got a rhythm going. We'll see what Gunther Cunningham's going to dial up right here. It's been pressure most of the day. We'll see if he brings the pressure.
A loss of 1. Looked like Lodeholt moved, but let's see if he was strong.
False start, number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
And we posed the question, would Gunther Cunningham bring the pressure? That's exactly what he was doing. You see all these bodies up there for Detroit. It caused the young rookie Lodeholt to jump a little early. Brett Favre was licking his chops right there. He had Sidney Rice outside, giving him a little hand signal. I think he was going up top.
So they'll move it back. Now it's a little longer, 3rd and 8. Quick throw, Harvin wide open. Now can he get the first? He does. Let's see where they mark it, but oh no. They're going to be just short. They mark him back, well back, and it looks to be about a yard shy.
And again, Gunther Cunningham dials up the pressure. And Percy Harvin does what he does best. He makes people miss in the open field. This Louis Delmas right there, good tackler for the Detroit Lions. Harvin runs right through him and makes it close here on 4th down.
So now you've got a 4th and 1.
They're going for it.
Well, the play clock is getting low. They better hurry up. They might have to burn one.
2nd charge timeout.
So Ryan Longwell now has come on.
That was Minnesota's 1st charge timeout.
And he will try today from 46 yards out. It's already been good from 26. Ball's up, straight, plenty of distance. And Longwell makes it look easy. Well, we talked about it earlier. Things started out okay for the Lions and Matthew Stafford, but as you see by that graphic there, the 2nd half has been dreadful. That's taking Lions fans back to the horror of last year. Team still trying to get their first win in 18 straight losses. And that's Brown. Brown, he's shut down before the 20-yard line.
I think you got to start getting the ball downfield. They've been running the football well, putting themselves in good situations on third down, but they're 2 of 8 on third down right now. That's been the difference in this game, the third down efficiency.
A look at Scott Linehan there, the new offensive coordinator, former coach with the St. Louis Rams. They go back to the ground game, and Kevin Smith. That's good for about 4. Williams, Mediu Williams on the tackle. And the play selection last week against New Orleans and today.
And I think this is more what the Lions want, but at some point you gotta, those explosion plays have to come in there. We've seen Calvin Johnson all over the field, but at some point they got to take a chance on him down the field.
That chance has to come pretty soon. Like maybe around now. There's Johnson, and Johnson will go. Calvin Johnson. A flag is down back upfield. Finally brought down by Antoine Winfield. 45
Personal
big
foul.
ones.
Shot block. Number 77. Offense. Half the distance to the goal. Remains second down.
And therein lies the demise of the Detroit Lions in the last year.
They called it on Gosder Chairless right here. This is just a backbreaker. They get a big play. I don't know about that. It's Stephen Peterman actually who goes for the cut, and that's legal unless he's engaged already by Chairless,
exactly
and he did not look engaged. Chairless ended up over him, but certainly did not look engaged with him when Peterman cut him.
Boy, that wipes out a huge play, and maybe, just maybe, the Lions' last attempt to get back in this thing because they've gone such a long time without a big play. That's 45 yards wiped out. Ball moved back to the 11-yard line. Second down and 17. Plenty of time, no place to go. That one knocked away. Great play in the secondary. Tyrell Johnson. Ball intended for Northcutt.
You go back to the penalty. It was Peterman. They called it on Chairless, but it was really Peterman who cut him, which is legal unless Chairless is engaged. And I don't think so. I think Peterman cut him first. Chairless ended up over him. I think the umpire missed a call right there, and that was a huge call in this game. They got the big play they needed from Calvin Johnson, and it was nullified from what I think was a bad call.
And they cut on both sides of the line. 3rd and 17. Johnson. And Calvin Johnson has a Lions first down. Covered on the play by Cedric Griffin. That's good for 22 yards.
Hey, Ron, and that's you see Calvin Johnson outside here working on Cedric Griffin. Gets off the ball, uses his strength, and Matthew Stafford. You wonder sometimes why guys are the #1 pick in the draft. Well, when you fire a ball like that, the velocity on that ball to Calvin Johnson, that was a terrific throw, and that's why a guy's drafted in the very first player in the draft. And Calvin Johnson, this guy is a spectacular player. We've just seen spurts of him today. The thing I respect about him, he can go underneath, he can go up top. And Ron, the thing I loved him when we met with him, he takes so much pride in the way he run blocks. I mean, this guy is a complete football player, and I love it.
Mediu Williams is the player down for the Vikings. Now he gets up. He got that neck jammed back. But you called it, John. That's the play that Detroit needed. So even after the big penalty, they come right back and make the pitch and the catch.
Calvin Johnson, you talk about him, he's 6'5", 230 pounds. Is Antoine Winfield, he's a high 4'2", low 4'3" guy. They don't make him like that. A freak, but the mentality of a superstar as well.
22 yards on the reception. DeMarco Sanford, the rookie out of Mississippi, checks in. Let's see if they go after him. Screen. Smith blasted from the backside. That's Latron Gayon coming up after a pickup of 4.
You look at the clock right now, you're just under 8 minutes. You're all right. At some point, you know, they've done it on this drive. You got it. The one play was nullified by the penalty. You got to get the ball downfield, but you don't need to score. You don't need to be in your 2-minute offense. It's important to get one score on this drive, then you'll have a chance to stop them on defense and get the ball back.
2nd down and 6. Fake the draw. The pass, another interception for Chad Greenway. Chad Greenway with his second interception of the day and the 34-yard return to boot.
And Ron, in the first couple weeks, the one criticism of Stafford would be at times he tries to force the ball too much. He knows he has a big arm, the confidence. Antoine Winfield said it. We're going to have a chance to make some plays. He's got so much. And Chad Greenway, heck of a play right there. He's made 2 picks on the young quarterback, and that's been the difference in this game.
Greenway, the first-round pick back in '06 out of Iowa, led the team in tackles last year. And he's having a heck of a day in the pass coverage department. And more troubles for young Matthew Stafford, continuing to force the ball. So Favre will take over. Quick throw to Berrien. Berrien down to the 12.
I like it, Kai.
Second down and 5. Pressure hit on Favre, but he throws. And Berrien just falls down short of the goal line. And Favre is slow to get up. You're not going to keep that man down for long.
271 straight games of being in there. You aren't going to keep him down. And what I like, as you see here at the end, he takes a hit from Larry Foote. Just hurt those ribs a little bit. You know, Favre actually says, Ron, that all the time off, both mentally and physically, has really helped him. He feels better than he did this time last year. And feeling really good here as the Vikings are going in.
First and goal. Quick throw to the slot. Touchdown, Harvin. So Percy Harvin, working in the slot, gets the quick throw and an easy touchdown as the Vikings pour it on here in Detroit.
This looked familiar. You know, University of Florida fans are saying this is exactly how Urban Meyer used Harvin. You put him in the slot, you get your great players, your great athletes, the ball in space. And when you got 3 yards, Harvin, we already talked about his strength. He's going to carry these guys into the end zone.
Second career touchdown for Harvin. 27 straight points now. The old and the new, the record setter on the left, Brett Favre, most consecutive starts in an NFL game. And it was funny talking to Matthew Stafford on Friday. He said, yeah, I'm going to turn around and watch Brett Favre out in the field. Definitely. I'm going to see if I can get some pointers. Maybe he's gotten a couple pointers.
Well, I think the pointer today would be you can't turn the ball over and win in this league. Again.
Exactly. This is Brown. Brown ended at the 25.
For those Minnesota fans following the Twins fans, as Twins on the heels of the Detroit Tigers as well.
Yes, they are. Mentioned that earlier. The Tigers with a 7-game lead at one point, now whittled down to 2. So just under 6 minutes remaining. There's a throw outside through the fingers of Kevin Smith. You know, he had that torn bicep surgery in the offseason, and a lot of people felt like, well, you're just playing games, you can't make a decision. He said, I couldn't make a decision because I didn't know if I could actually throw the ball until after I had the surgery. There's a dump off. Smith tries to run Cedric Griffin over. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first down.
I think what leads you to believe Favre in the fact that he thought he was done is he waited so long to have the surgery. Had he known he was coming back, he was going to have that surgery early. It was later on in late May, early June that he decided to finally have it. James Andrews did it. And just like you would expect out of him, 5 days out of surgery, he's already throwing the football, which he then commented actually he came back a little too soon and it started to hurt him a little bit.
Third down and 4. The long out to Johnson. Johnson will lean for the first down. Winfield on the coverage. And a look at Favre's numbers today. That's just vintage right there, along with the 115.3 quarterback rating.
Yeah, you know, and call it managing the game, call it what you want. That's pretty darn efficient right there. 23 or 27 for 155 and 2 touchdowns. That's doing some good work. Brad Childress, interestingly enough, said more than learning the scheme, he's in the process of learning his players. And it looks like that chemistry is really starting to gel for these guys.
Stafford going deep, wide open. They blow a coverage, and he can't get him the ball. Boy, does that not sum up the day for Stafford? Had Brian Johnson just running clean.
And again, he'll learn when he's got a receiver wide open, let them make a play. You don't have to throw the perfect ball. He told us that. What he needs to learn is he just needs to put it up there, particularly when your guy's uncovered. Brian Johnson was wide open, and he missed him right there. He'll learn from that, and he'll be better there in the future.
Well, that passer rating thus far is better than last week. He had a 27 passer rating. 2nd and 10. The long out completes that one. That's Northcutt. Were you surprised the other day when Favre said that this Vikings fit already is a more natural fit than it was for him up in New York last year?
Yeah, he said clearly from the start the New York Jet fit felt foreign. From the start, never felt comfortable there. Down here, he really, and it seems genuine, feels comfortable. When you see the players around him, when we talk to Brad Childress, when we talk to Jared Allen, Antoine Winfield, Adrian Peterson, they feel comfortable. They love what he's brought. He's brought an energy and excitement, a looseness to this team.
3rd and 7. That one incomplete. Continue, John.
Excuse me, Ron. And they feel it's going to be invaluable to this team. You know, one of the things he did is he got up in front of the team on week 1. It was Labor Day, the Monday before the opener versus Cleveland. And he talked to the team, and he thought it was important to talk to the team. He said it's something he didn't do in New York. Felt like he should have. His wife told him to. He should always listen to the wife. And he got up and just told him why he came, which is essentially to win a championship, and that he felt this team had more talent than his Super Bowl team in '96. But it all came down to chemistry and working together. And he feels like they have something special, and we'll see.
He's got the hat on. I'm not sure I'd put him back in the game. 4th and 7. There's a first down pitch. Dennis Northcutt. So the Lions going into the hurry-up offense. John, we talked also briefly about the changes, the overhaul that the Lions have been through. New head coach in Jim Schwartz. He brings in a new staff. Changed the weight room program around. He did everything he could to try to get this franchise back in the right direction. There's a completion to Will Heller.
Well, he did, and you know, you look at offensively, there's 6 new offensive starters. On the defense, you got 9 new defensive starters. He's overhauled this whole deal, and you know, when you wonder what goes wrong with the franchise, right there, 2002 to 2006. Of Matt Millen draft, only 1 remains on the team. You can't do that. I think also to the Sean Rogers trade. He's a dominant player, and you let him go for Lee Bodden, who's no longer here, and a 3rd round that becomes Andre Llewellyn, who's barely played today. That kills the franchise.
2nd and 8 hurdle there by Brown. Still about 4 yards shy of the first.
But on the positive side, I see Martin Mayhew and Jim Schwartz starting to build. And you know, Matthew Stafford's had his struggles today, but you look at Matthew Stafford, you look at a guy like Pettigrew, Calvin Johnson, one of the better players in this league. Some of the defensive players, Louis Delmas, who really has shined. As you see Stafford to Pettigrew there. And that's the future of this team. I think, you know, we talked about the bad trade, the Sean Rogers trade, the Roy Williams trade. I think Martin Mayhew did a heck of a job. And for that trade, Roy Williams, you had a disgruntled receiver who wanted out anyways. His contract was coming up. You get a 1st round that became Pettigrew. A 3rd round that was Derek Williams, who we haven't seen today.
And there's a check down to Pettigrew. Pettigrew with a chance to run. And Pettigrew, as a marker goes down, gets inside the 20-yard line. He's slow to get up. That was a big hit.
In the run, illegal block in the back. Number 86 offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Let's listen to that hit at the end of the play. E.J. Henderson came up, and look at Pettigrew, welcome to the NFL, huh?
And that's what E.J. Henderson brings to this club. I mean, they love his physical style. Let's not forget, as we see the penalty there, I mean, the Lions had a little something going there just earlier with about 8 minutes left. They get a ball to Calvin Johnson underneath. He goes for a long gain, and it's called back for a chop block that was, you know, controversial to say the least.
So after the penalty, they'll reset it. First and 5. That one nearly intercepted. Griffin's right there. Intended for Northcutt. But John, you look across the board at the Minnesota Vikings, and this is what is so intimidating, I think, for other NFC North foes. They are loaded up. And you look across the board, they've got a first rounder, second rounder, first rounder, second rounder. There's just talent everywhere.
They've got talent, they've got depth, and now they've got Brett Favre, who they feel is going to be the missing link.
Right. Second down and 6. And that's a desperation throw intended for Brown, but pressure on Stafford by Kevin Williams.
You talk about first rounders and talent. You look at that guy right there, Kevin Williams. That guy's a stud. You look at Detroit's next 5 games. Got Washington next week, at Chicago, Pittsburgh, and at Green Bay. Doesn't get any easier for these Lions, Ronnie.
So barring a miracle here, they'll go to 0 for the last 19 games. Third and 6. That back perfect throw. Northcutt can't hold on. That'll bring up 4th down.
He's Stafford right here. He's doing his job. He puts a strike on Dennis Northcutt, and Northcutt's got to come up with that ball. He's a guy who's had a broken thumb. They haven't had much work. But when you're on that field and healthy, and the quarterback puts it in there, you've got to come down with those.
So on comes Jason Hanson. Lions just trying to salvage some kind of points here. 48 yards out. Gets it up, and it's through. So Jason Hanson adds 3. Not going to do much for the final outcome. 27-13 Minnesota. And every week we preview our slobber knocker. John Lynch picks his best hits, and here it is.
And typically, Ron, you know this is going to be a defensive player. But right there, Adrian Peterson. He brings the word right there to Anthony Henry and Kelvin Pearson. Takes 2 with them, and you got to love that. You got to respect that. And I told Adrian Peterson as we went into production, I always have respected you, but when I heard what you said this week, you've gone off the charts, because he said his favorite position to play other than running back would be safety. He'd love to go just lay the wood. Well, he's just doing it at running back instead, and that's our slobber knocker of the week. Good job, Adrian.
You know, we asked him the other night when he came into the meeting room, and there's been all this talk about how fast Percy Harvin is. Percy Harvin ran a 4.1 supposedly at the combine. Blah, 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 blah. We said, Adrian, who's faster, you or Percy? He said, bet on me.
Without hesitation, he said
on me. Saw him throw a pair of shoes up into the stands, unloading those Nikes early. I don't know who caught him, but they better hold on to him. And that's Harvin deep, as the Lions get ready to try an onside kick, obviously. But Harvin does bring a little something special to the field.
He does. He's a guy that they, obviously in the kick return is a great spot for him. But they're going to have about 20 to 30 play package each week to get him involved. Minnesota has their hands team, Sidney Rice, Bernard Berry, and all the guys with good hands out there on the field.
That ball is caught.
I guess if
Greenway, you know, he almost hit the hat trick there. The Detroit Lions got off to a 10-0 lead. A couple turnovers early. They were able to capitalize. Then the second half happened, and it looked like the Lions just completely went the other way. And Brett Favre, as we make a quarterback change, Tavares Jackson checks in for Favre, now at 271 consecutive starts. He is the all-time leader in the NFL as they give to Cheston Taylor. And a look at the game summary, the takeaways, always big. Minnesota able to capitalize off those takeaways.
And Ron, you hit it. The takeaways were the difference there today. The Vikings created 3. The Lions were only able to create the 1 early on the fumble with Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson. And the Vikings did a great job of not only creating the turnovers, but taking advantage of them and turn them into points. Matthew Stafford forced a couple footballs here in the second half, and you can't do that. He'll learn, and I think he's got a bright future in front of him. The Detroit Lions should be happy with the pick of him, but he'll continue to develop.
Pick number 1 overall. He's won a lot of games. Has always been what they call that super achiever, a guy who's done better than expected. But he's got a lot to learn about the NFL game. 2 interceptions to Chad Greenway alone. And we talked about the turnovers being the difference.
And Ronnie, the key word with what you said there was forcing the football. And all these throws, the interceptions last week, this week, they were all forcing the football. And I remember a young Brett Favre who used to force the football.
Yeah.
I mean, guys with that strong arm, they know it. And you just got to learn to bridle that and when to take those shots and when to have some discretion and check the football down. And Matthew Stafford, as I said, will learn that as he continues to develop.
4th and 2, gun. Tavares Jackson, the quick throw to Taylor. And Taylor very alertly keeps it in bounds. And Ernie Sims is the injured Lion. You could hear him scream. And that will be the 2-minute warning. Good news, Ernie Sims able to walk off the field under his own power. Today's game is being produced by Ray Smaltz and directed by Peter Bleckner. The associate director is Eric Eisendrat, and the broadcast associate is Joe Williams. Our technical producer is Dan Ricante, and the technical director is Damon McGavick. The pregame show is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior vice president of production is Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorn and David Hill. And a special thank you and appreciate all their help. My stat mans, Mitch Smith, and spotter, Seth Jacobson. And with the Lions, no timeouts. It's all about the countdown.
And Ronnie, I think it's only appropriate to say congratulations to Brett Favre. I mean, 271 straight games being on there on the field. And I played against him when Warren Sapp rolled up on his foot, and he's back the next week. He broke his thumb. He's back the next week. Whatever you think about him in recent times, that takes a tough guy to be there for his teammates each and every week. Brad Childress and Brett Favre wanted to make it be known that they invited Jim Marshall here today. He was on his first wedding anniversary and probably made the right decision. But they're going to have him out to practice next week. And big day for Brett Favre and the Vikings, and they're all happy right now.
So the Vikings will jump out 2-0 on the season as the Lions continue the losing ways. Now an NFL record. Most consecutive losses, that goes to 19 straight. But not the most, second all time to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Those weren't my Buccaneers.
Those weren't your Buccaneers.
I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
We were bad. We weren't that bad.
Those were the early franchise days of the Buccaneers. So Brett Favre with another outstanding performance. Final thoughts, John?
Well, big day for Minnesota. I think that went just how they would wanted it to. A tight game, but eventually, as Brad Childress said, they exerted their will on these Detroit Lions. And for the Detroit Lions, the losing continues. It's got to be tough. 19 straight losses. It's wearing on these guys. And at some point, they got to find a way to win a game.